All right, welcome back. So this is pretty much, it is the introduction to all the lessons, but it is also a lesson for you. This, please take the time to listen to each and everything in this video. It is a must. As you can see, the title is effectively learn about God. How to learn about God effectively, where you are learning and you are taking things in, and it's effective, and you're growing. That's the whole idea, right? I want you to grow. So a lot of time you see people learning about God. They asking about, well, what about this? What about that? Well, how come this? How come that? Very important. When you want to learn about God, when asking questions about God, what you got to do is you have to ask questions of God. You do not question God. You see what I'm saying? It's very important. You do not question God. You ask questions of God. If you question God, you have doubt about God. God is faith, and you are using doubt. Doubt is the opposite of faith. Faith is God. So tell me, who is opposite of God? That is the devil. So you are using the devil's tool, which is doubt, to learn about God. It's not gonna work. The devil's not gonna give you a tool so you can get closer to God. So you have to ask questions of God. So it goes something like this: God, you know what? I read this. I heard about this. I'm not getting it. I know it's true. It is your word. It is your word. I know it's true, but I'm not really quite getting it. Please send me clarity for this. This is asking to know about God. Your faith is already there. You already believe because God said it. Now you're just looking for clarity. Instead of, well, how come this and this and this and that? How can God say this, but then God do that? You're not this, you using doubt. And if you are using doubt, you're not gonna get close to God. Guarantee you that. The devil's tool is not for you to get closer to God. This is exactly what he used in the Garden of Eden. Telling Eve, are you sure? Maybe you could just start looking at the fruit. Maybe you can just let's start by looking at the fruit. I don't think God, will you think you seeding doubt? So if you want to learn about God, you cannot be using doubt. You have to use faith. And through that, what you're going to find is you're going to ask question of God. You are not going to question God, because the moment you question God, you are on the side of doubt. Okay? Now, the other thing is the word of God, sometimes it doesn't feel good. Okay? Let's look at in Hebrew 4:11-13. Hebrew 4:11-13. Let's just say 12-13, right? It says, for the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and of spirit and of joint and marrow, and discerning through the thoughts and intention of the heart. And no creature is hidden from his sight, but all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him to whom we must give account. So the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. I mean, a knife is sharp enough for me. I don't need swords. I don't know for you. You give me a knife, I think that's sharp enough. So we talking about swords here. That is dangerous. And that thing can pierce through bones and marrow. It's telling you how much sharper this sword is. That means the word of God at times, when you hear it, it will hurt. You know, it will hurt. And Christians, a lot of Christians, they take that and they start using these words. Oh my goodness, you start hitting me with the Bible. They just start slapping with the Bible. Slap so-and-so with the Bible. Slap. That's all they keep using instead of looking at the big picture. The thing is, think about a sword. The sword is very dangerous. But you know one thing about that sword? A sword is only dangerous when you are its enemy, when you are in front of that sword. So if you are not right with the word of God, that sword is against you. If you have things that you need to fix, that sword is against you. That's why you would step in the church, the preacher start preaching, and is that sword. The word of God is sharper than a two-edged sword. That sword is coming at you, and it's not feeling good. But there's a way around that. That same exact sword, if you are the one holding that sword in your hand, now the sword is your protection. So what do you do? When the word of God, which is the sword, is coming at you, what you do is fix yourself. When you fix yourself, the sword will no longer hurt you. So it's like it's like being, you were the one that was in front of the sword. Now you are the one behind the sword, because the sword is no longer an issue to you. The same sword that when you are its enemy, it's hurting you. Now the sword is your protector, or the one who's holding the sword, you behind them. So basically, it's your position to that sword. That's the issue. That same sword that's hurting you could be the one that's protecting you. Where are you in front of that sword? According to the sword, are you in front of the sword? If you're in front of the sword, you're an enemy. Get behind the sword. That means fix the things that you need to fix. Get better, grow, listen, and do what you need to do. And when you do that, your position to that sword change. You are no longer in front of the sword. You are behind the sword. And now the sword serves you as a protection instead of being an enemy to it. So we don't have to be screaming that the word of God they are slapping me with the Bible. We can just fix ourselves. And guess what? The moment we do, now the sword, we are on a different position when it comes to that sword. So let's learn about the word of God effectively. Let's make sure we are in the right position of that sword. Whenever we start getting hit, I get hit all the time in church. The sword start coming like, ooh, I gotta fix something, and I fix it, and it no longer hurt. So you gotta put yourself in the right position according to the sword, and then you're gonna keep growing. And remember, do not question God. Ask question of God. but do not question them. I hope these words have blessed you. If you apply these, you will learn about the Word of God very effectively, and you will be growing. And I can tell you, you will start living a very blessed life, and you'll get closer to God. God bless you. This is Brother David. I'm glad you were with us.